This is the standard. This is Stratford. Welcome back to the wheel.
Welcome back to the audit. While you were sleeping, Manchester United just achieved a new high score. £1.29 billion in debt. That's $1.7 billion for you American notes. We aren't just a football club anymore. We are a distressed asset with a world-class loan. INEOS just announced a £13 million profit. How? Easy. They fired the staff, turned off the heating at Carrington, and probably started charging Bruno for his own tape. It's a peak venture capital cosplay, making the spreadsheet look sustainable while the actual engine is smoking on the hard shoulder. Sunday is the Emirates. Arteta's F1 software versus Michael Carrick's 2012 Honda Civic. No Zirkzee, no Hoyland, and a board that's monitoring the Adam Wharton patch because they've reached their credit card limit at the bank. The data says we've already lost. My heart says Carrick might find a glitch. Let's decompile the failure of INEOS. Let's look at this £13 million operating profit. In any other business, that's a success. At United, it's a tragedy masked as a triumph. INEOS didn't generate this money through growth. They generated it through deletion. 250 staff members gone. These aren't just names on a ledger. They are the institutional memory of the club. We've traded the very soul of Carrington for the price of a backup fullback's weekly wages. And it gets funnier. To squeeze out this margin, they have cut free lunches, revoked travel perks, and reportedly even looked at the heating bill. We are a $6 billion entity playing austerity cosplay. It's like a billionaire driving a Ferrari but refusing to use AC to save on gas. It doesn't make you smart. It makes the car unbearable to drive. The reason for this efficiency is the £1.2 billion debt looming over us. Our revolving credit is tapped out at £268 million. We are paying millions in interest every month just to stand still. This £13 million profit isn't a transfer fund. It's a band-aid on a gunshot wound. It's barely enough to cover the interest on the debt that they refuse to restructure. So when the board tells you you have to be patient in the transfer market, remember, they aren't being patient because they have a plan, no. They're being patient because the bank has put the account on read-only mode. Which brings us to the Adam Wharton shaped hole in our midfield. Before we look at the fix, let's take a look at the fire. Casemiro is officially leaving next season. The 2026 logs are clear. The hardware has hit a terminal limit. But here's the glitch. Crystal Palace have seen our greedy INEOS stares and decided that Adam Wharton isn't just a player, he's a luxury tax. Overnight reports are suggesting $100 million minimum to even get Palace to pick up the phone. Under contract until 2029? That's not a transfer, that's a hostage negotiation. And United are currently the most advanced in talks. We are finally at the table, but we've realized the menu is priced in gold bars. This brings us back to my group polls and our blue versus pink audit. The blue camp wants Wharton's vision, but is it worth £80 million? Especially when young Adam is reportedly checking our league position like a credit score. He wants Champions League football, software we haven't successfully run in years. Meanwhile, the pink camp is screaming for Carlos Baleba. If Palace wants £80 million for Wharton, what's the Brighton tax for Baleba? Probably similar. We are stuck between two elite patches, both priced for a budget we don't have, while we monitor our way into a mid-table finish. Think about the insanity. We are protecting a 2 million pound PSR margin while discussing an 80 million pound transaction. It's the ultimate Glineos glitch. We are firing 250 staff to show fiscal discipline while our primary midfield target is checking to see if we're even relevant enough to join. If we don't hit top 4, the Wharton patch doesn't just cost 80 million pounds, it becomes incompatible with our server entirely. We're betting the future on a player who is currently side-eyeing our league position. We are advanced in talks, but light years away from a solution. We are chasing 80 million pound dreams on a fired staff budget. It's peak Manchester United. But while the board is busy getting quoted 9 figures for a 21-year-old, Michael Carrick has to figure out how to beat Arsenal with what's left in the cupboard. Let's look at the Carrick paradox. Now let's talk about the man currently performing open heart surgery on a moving vehicle, Michael Carrick. He's installed a 3-2-5 system that is quite frankly gorgeous on paper. It's fluid, it's dominant, and it's exactly what the United DNA crowd has been yearning and huffing for years. But here's the glitch. He's running a 2026 tactical OS on a 2018 hardware. Every time Diogo Dalot inverts or Patrick Dorgu bombs forward to join that front 5, the system is redlining. We are asking players like Ugarte and Casemiro to cover ground that their GPS coordinates suggest that they haven't visited in years. It's not just a tactic, it's an overclock. And we all know what happens when you overclock a CPU without a cooling system, right? It eventually catches fire. Yeah, I see the comment from the casual nodes. Oh, we only have 1 game a week, they should be fresh. That is peak dial-up logic. It doesn't matter if you have 7 days to recover if the 90 minutes you play are spent in a high intensity 3-5 trap that requires 12 kilometers of sprinting from every midfielder. Carrick isn't just steadying the ship, he's pushing this limited squad to its absolute physical threshold. Against City, it worked because we were running on derby adrenaline, a temporary system boost, if you will. But you can't live on a boost without rotation, without the Baleba Wharton patches we just discussed. This system isn't a long-term solution, no. It's a suicide mission that looks pretty for the first 60 minutes. Carrick is inflexible? I say he's a realist. He knows he has only one fit striker in Benjamin Sesko and a midfield that collapses the moment it stops dominating the ball. He has to play this way because the alternative is dropping into a low block and letting Harry Maguire defend 1v1 against the entire Premier League. And we've already seen that movie. It has a 0% rating on Rotten Tomatoes. He's gambling everything on the 3-2-5 trap, and on Sunday at the Emirates, Mikel Arteta is going to try and hack that gamble. Let's talk about the nightmare scenario. While we were monitoring the market as usual, Arsenal actually went out and installed the Martin Zubimendi patch. He is the anchor that allows Rice and Odegaard to play in high definition. This is the Zubimendi creep. Arsenal will dominate 70% of the server's bandwidth, slowly pushing our 3-2-5 into a 5-4-1 retreat. Without our own Wharton or Baleba to break that press, Kobe Mainoo is going to be playing Kumit-Danga, or for those of you who don't know that term, keep away in a room full of sharks. If we can't bypass their first line of code, we aren't just losing possession, we are losing our tactical identity. And then there's the Bukayo Saka node. Carrick's system relies on Patrick Dorgu or Luke Shaw to provide width, but against Saka, they're basically sacrificial lambs. Saka is the ultimate 1v1 exploit. If Dorgu bombs forward, Saka has a 50-yard runway against Lisandro Martinez, who, bless his heart, is a warrior, but he can't outrun a glitch in the matrix. We're essentially asking our left back to be a world-class winger and a world-class defender simultaneously. It's an impossible task. If we don't double team that flank, that 1730 mark you've seen on my Zubimendi creep shorts is when the system error message starts flashing on the big screen. We are hoping for a Matthias Cunha miracle or a Benjamin Sesko header from a 1% chance. That's the reality of the Honda Civic. It can win if the F1 car stalls, but you can't build a season on hoping for a stall. Arteta has a deeper squad, a better bench, and a board that actually buys in the patches he asks for. We are relying on Carrick's tactical overclock to bridge a $500 million gap in squad investment. It's the ultimate stress test. If the server holds, Carrick is a god. If it crashes, well, at least the board saved £2 million on staff lunches. So, what's the final audit? Are we building a project? Or are we just a very expensive tax write-off for a chemicals giant? When you look at the $1 billion net debt alongside the refusal to buy the Wharton or Baleba patch, the conclusion is terrifyingly simple. Glineos isn't optimizing for trophies, no. They're optimizing for an exit strategy. They've stripped the legacy hardware, the staff, the history, the soul, and replaced it with a damn spreadsheet. We are being run like a distressed venture capital asset. They'll give Carrick a pat on the back for doing more with less, but they won't give him the tools to actually compete. Efficiency is just a polite word for lowered expectations and standards. On Sunday, my heart wants a Carrick miracle. A glitch in the Arsenal matrix where Benjamin Sesko becomes a god for 90 minutes. But my logic sees the Zubimendi creep and the Saka exploit and realizes that you can't defeat a supercomputer with a calculator no matter how clever the mathematician is. If we win, it's despite the board, not because of them. And if we lose, expect the usual PR cycle about long-term vision while the debt interest ticks up another million. The audit is complete. The system is failing, but the architect is still watching. Hit the sub button to stay updated on the next breach. And remember, in a world of monitored patches, don't be a Glineos.